Hi, shalom friends. I'd like to discuss with you a passage in Genesis 21 and point out the relevance of it to today. Our story takes us back to Abraham and Sara and the miracle child that they have, Isaac or Yitzchak. So Abraham is 100, Sarah is 90, and Avraham, verse number 3, chapter 21, Avraham calls the name of his son Isaac or Yitzchak. Now, verse number 6, Sarah said, God has made laughter for me. Whoever hears will laugh for me. What does the word Yitzchak, in English, Isaac, but now let's talk the Hebrew. She called him Yitzchak because in Hebrew, the word laughter is tzachok. Yitzchak or Yitzchak means not only laughter for me, but laughter for others as well. Rashi, of the foremost commentator, explains that in what way did the birth of Yitzchak, Isaac, how did it bring laughter to the world? So Rashi says that the day that he was born, a lot of miracles happened. People that were ill recovered, and people who were told that they were barren were able to conceive. So actually, the day that Sarah experienced the miracle of Isaac's birth, or Yitzchak's birth, she was filled with laughter and joy, happiness, and not only her, but everyone on that day was blessed, in a sense, through her birth. My question that I'd like to pose is, in Hebrew, the word happiness or joy is simcha. So why did she use the name Yitzchak, which means laughter literally, though in this context it means a time of great joy? Why use the word tzachok, laughter, when it would seem that an appropriate name would be simcha, joy? Or perhaps if she wanted to point out the miraculous part of her delivery, she could have called them Nisim, which means miracle. Or maybe Peloi, which means wonder. Clearly, the joy that she expresses in having Yitzchak is not an ordinary joy. It's a joy that is expressed in laughter. So I would like now to examine, why do people laugh? Many people would say that you laugh at something that's funny, which opens up another discussion of what's the definition of funny. But let me go back one step. Is it true that we laugh when something is funny? I think it's pretty much universal. Sometimes when you see a person who's trying to sit down on a chair, but the chair is not there and he falls on the floor, and people just laugh. Now, it's not a cruel laugh. As a matter of fact, the people that laugh, many of them will jump up, run to the fellow, pick him up and say, can we help you? Are you okay? And so on. So if they're so solicitous, why are they laughing? It's not a bad laugh, but it is laughter. And we see it constantly with children, little kids do things and we laugh, and the kid is crying. And yet you laugh, not because you're cruel, but because of something. I remember growing up and going to a Mondam and Bailey circus. And I remember one of the acts, not clear, but I remember it vaguely, was a clown act. And basically there was a Volkswagen. Today it's like a smart car, a really small car, one that you could park in the hallway of your building. And a fellow pretty much between 4.5 feet and 5 comes out, really short. And with fanfare, he walks into the Volkswagen. He drives it until the middle of the stage or the arena. He gets out, he stretches, and then he closes the door. Maybe 20 seconds later, the door, not from the passenger side opens, and out comes a guy 6 feet. Everyone is laughing. Of course, the act doesn't end over there. 6 people came out, each one of them between 5'11" and 6'2". And people, tell me, what was funny about this? It was it was one of the best acts. What was funny about it is it was so unexpected. I mean, it's a Volkswagen. It's a tiny little car. The first fellow was 5 feet, barely fit in. How they actually did it, I don't know. They probably had like some type of a trap door or something like that underneath, and people were coming up. But it was hilarious. People laugh not when something is quote unquote funny, when something is unexpected. The more unexpected it is, the more you laugh. A good joke that has a punchline, what makes the laughter is no one expected it. They didn't expect the response, they didn't expect the reply, they didn't expect the way it was. Okay, so if you want more about humor, you could go to Barnes & Nobles and you'll find hundreds of books taking humor very seriously. Like one of them is laughter is no laughing matter, and a scholarly thing. Let me do one more thing with you. I'm sure you've all are familiar with the yearbook, whether it be 8th grade or middle school, or maybe even high school or college. You look at these pictures. Well, they often have pictures of each one of the students, and they often have something like the most likely to succeed. And it's always interesting because sometimes they hit it on the mark, and many times the one that's most likely to succeed does not. And someone else who's just mediocre. So if you went to a high school, which I taught in, and you were to say, pick someone who you think is the most likely to succeed, one would argue the one that's in charge of the school newspaper. The other one would say, no, the one that's the most handsome. The other one would say, no, the one that's most pretty. The other one would say the athlete is the one. The other one would say, no, the guy who has rich parents. Everyone, So there are disagreements about who's most likely to succeed. But you know what I found interesting? When it came to who is the one person who's least likely to succeed, almost everyone agreed. So let me make believe. That's the nerd. That's the kid that's a little bit, talks with a lisp, completely unathletic, doesn't have any friends, doesn't shine academically. The fellow that sits at the cafeteria, no one wants to sit next to him because he's weird and odd. And he's the guy that everyone agrees will be a loser. And what happens if you find out 20 years later that this loser has a gorgeous wife, beautiful children, one of the most prestigious jobs in America, has the personal numbers of some of the most influential people on earth on his speed dial, has his own private everything? I mean, you got to laugh. I can't believe it. I mean, him? Is it funny? No, it's so unexpected. It's just so unusual. You got to laugh. Okay, so let me bring it down. Could you imagine how many countries are there? Now, today's 192. Let's go back in ancient times, 70 nations. Make believe you were able to put a picture of each of these 70 nations. Well, we'll take a nice picture of a Phoenician, of a Canaanite, of an Amorite, maybe of an Egyptian. Okay, let's make it a little bit of a Greek, of a Roman soldier. And just keep on putting pictures of these 70 nations, and then put a picture of Israel, of a Hebrew. And I asked you, look at these pictures. Who is most likely to succeed? And you say, well, I think the Roman, I like him. He looks strong. He has a spear. And no, I like the Greek guy. He's a philosopher. Someone said, oh, the Phoenician. He's a sailor. But I could tell you without a doubt that everyone would look at the Hebrew picture and say, he certainly was not going to make it. He's not warlike, he's not this, he's not that, he has no... And here we are, 4,000 years from Abraham, 3,000 years from the giving of the Torah, 2,000 years in exile, and where are all those pictures who were voted most likely to succeed? They're not here. And the one who they all agreed was, hey, there's no way he's going to make it. This guy has nothing. Look at us. This is laughter. Not funny. God gave the first couple, Abraham and Sarah, a child, and said, you know this child? It's not only going to bring you nachas, this child is going to defy the norm. No one will be able to predict the greatness of this child. Whoever hears about him is going to have to laugh. I can't believe it. How healthy could a child be from a father who's 100 and a mother who's 90? Okay, maybe it's a miracle. How long can that miracle stay? Well, friends, if you're watching this, you're one of the people who's part of the miracle or watching a miracle. What will be when the Messiah will come? The Jewish people themselves will laugh. And as we march proudly into the land of Israel, led by our King Messiah, and surrounded by the biblical greats and other greats, whether it be Abraham and Sarah, whether it be Moses and Miriam and Aaron, whether it be Queen Esther and Mordechai, whether it be our own holy Rabbi. We're going to laugh. We can't believe. Look at us. Look at us. Who would have believed that 2,000 years of exile and 3,300 years since our holy Torah, that we would come to this place with such respect, such honor, such dignity, and such greatness? So friends, I'll say it in Yiddish, lach a bissel, laugh a little bit. Laugh with anticipation. Laugh with expectation. Laugh with confidence. And laugh with hope. Because the world needs a good laugh. And with Hashem's help, we will provide it for them.